Hello and welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Leads. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and Where the 99 Leads is a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, where we talk many different programs available at the University of Pikeville. Academically, athletically, of course from the Kentucky College of Osteopathic Medicine, new projects that are going on at the university, and programs that ensure student success. That's our focus today on this edition, and joined by Ambria Ray, Director of Student Success. Ambria, welcome in once again.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Always great to have you here because you are so in touch with students, and that brings us a little closer in touch with students. Before we go there, let's talk about your background and how you arrived at where you are at UPike.
Wow, my background goes pretty far back.
Okay.
I started at UPike as an instructor of developmental English. So
Right.
I started teaching in the classroom. I was there for a few years and then moved on to help with the tutoring center, and then became director of student success. At that time, it was retention coordinator.
Right.
The administration saw a need for us to focus on keeping the students that we had recruited.
Sure.
And developing programs to help students stay in school. So I've been in this position since 2009.
And we're going to talk about student success, retention, if you will, which almost seems like a negative term. Keeping those students, and student success sounds so much better, but it's all about making students successful.
Exactly.
And we're going to talk about that today. Eric Mobley, Student Success Advisor, joins us as well. And welcome in.
How you doing, sir?
Let's talk about your background, your arrival at the university, and the story that you have arriving at the Center for Student Success.
Well, when I first came here, I decided to play football. I signed here. Mac Bryan was the head coach at the time.
Right.
I was here, like I said, I'm from South Carolina, about 6 hours away. So, when I come up here, it was a long distance for me and my family.
Sure.
Big difference for us. But, it was just, like I said, it was different for me being around here in the mountains. Miss Ray kind of took me under her wing for a long period of time. I've known Miss Ray for 7 years now. Like I said, she just took care of me and did the things we needed to do.
Absolutely, and of course you come to play football, and as a student athlete, there are additional demands on student athletes, in addition to being a student, being away from home for the first time, and the challenges that presents. We'll talk about that and how that ties into your role now as an advisor with the Center for Student Success. Ambria, tell us about the Center for Student Success, how it functions, and the purpose of the office for those that are just tuned in.
Okay, the purpose of the CSS, we're referring Center for Student Success, we're going to shorten that to CSS.
I like that.
Great. We're going to tie that with Center for Student Success, but also we're creating connections for solutions which lead to success.
I like it.
So that's our purpose, is we serve as a liaison between the students and the rest of campus. An initial point contact for the students to solve problems. Whatever they need, we try to get them to the office that they need to receive the help that they need, resources, support services, and we're there just for whatever they need.
Sure.
To help them and connect them to the right people.
College can be intimidating
Absolutely.
for a first-year student. It can be extremely intimidating if a situation arises. Many of these students are away from family for the first time in their life, and they don't know where to go.
Right.
And that's what you do, is provide direction.
That's what we do when we talk with the freshmen when they first come to campus, is let them know, hey, if you have a question, you don't know who to ask, you don't know where to go, you can always come to us and we'll do our best to get you there.
And you've recently grown.
Absolutely.
Eric Mobley, you've grown with Eric, obviously, but more advisors.
Yes.
And the center has grown. Tell us about that. Tell us how it's grown, where the money comes from, the resources to enable that.
This has been a very exciting year for us. The Center for Student Success was created because we applied for a federal grant through the Department of Education. It's called a Title III grant for strengthening institutions.
Sure.
And we were awarded that grant, $2.2 million.
Hang on.
Yes.
Don't go buy that too quickly. $2.2 million.
Exactly. Over
incredible.
5 years. But
incredible.
it enabled us to create the center, which focuses on a centralized advising center for all incoming students. And that enabled me to hire 4 advisors and an office manager. So we went from a department of 2 to
Right.
7
Yes.
very quickly. And so we're really excited with what we're able to provide our students at UPike now. We focus on the freshmen coming in because those, we do advising for freshmen, the SOAR advising, and we're able to contact them early while they're still in high school. We started talking with students, Mobley started talking with students in April, way before they even graduated.
Sure.
The ones that knew they wanted to come to UPike and they were ready to be a Bear and bleed orange with the rest of us,
Right.
we started talking class schedules with them. And it's been an exciting summer so far.
That can be important. And something that's overlooked is that first semester class schedule.
Exactly.
And I think students can load up and overwhelm themselves just with that schedule. It's very important. Let's talk about the advisors. Let's talk about the role of a student success advisor. What do they do other than being in touch with? Probably, I would imagine, texting is very big. With today's generation, it's all about texting,
Yeah.
isn't it? But texting and social media electronically. But what's the role of a student success advisor?
Help them learn the ropes of being a college student. Everything from academic advising to email etiquette and how to check my email and get that. That's one of the things that we do at SOAR is help them get their email installed on their smartphones so that we're in touch with them right off the bat.
Right.
Speaking of texting, how many texts do you say you send a day?
A day? That's an outrageous number. Easy.
But that is the way they want to communicate, and they're in contact with them just however the student is comfortable, whether it's a phone call or a text or an email. We do encourage them to start off with that UPike email right at the beginning. That's your lifeline. That's where all the information is going to come from.
And regardless how many dual credit courses they may have under their belt, those were taken in a high school environment.
For the
And a
most part.
college environment is much different. They could come in as a sophomore academically
Exactly.
with those hours, but those are different type hours than what they will spend on a college campus. And the socialization of being on campus is much different than those high school dual credit courses. We're talking student success today on this edition of Where the 99 Leads. Amber Ray, Director of Student Success, and you're involved with SOAR. And we're going to talk more about SOAR and what that is, Student Orientation and Registration at the University of Pikeville, and looking forward to fall 2015. The semester is nearly upon us. Also, Eric Mobley, Student Success Advisor, joins us. Came to the University of Pikeville as a football player out of South Carolina, and like many, fell in love with the community, and the community fell in love with him, and you became intertwined with UPike. Talk about your story of student success. You were here as a freshman, being far away from home, playing collegiate athletics, which is in itself a hardship. Many hours required on the practice field, in the weight room, and of course taking care of classroom responsibilities as well. Talk about your story.
Well, a lot of people don't know my story. And I started off in Miss Ray classes in English, 098, 099 classes. So I had to work hard. I was in, study hall, in there meeting with coaches, having the tutors and things like that. Trying to develop myself. But the thing about it is, when you're 6 hours away from home, you don't get to talk. You don't get to see your family every day. You don't get to talk to. I'm real close with my brother. He has 2 little boys. When I first come up here, my first nephew, Taylor, he was born July. And I'm gonna come up here in August, so I didn't get to hang out with him or anything like that.
Right.
So it was really tough on me. But Justin Lamb, he's a coach now. He's the new offensive coordinator under Coach Holland. I know for him for a fact. I played with him for a year. I live with him now, so I've known him for 7 years. And Ambria Ray, both of them, took me under their wing. Because when I was homesick, I didn't want to do anything. I wanted to stay in my bed. I didn't want to go to practice. I didn't want to go to class. It was a struggle for me day in and day out. But they're the one that encouraged me. You know, you're better in yourself. You're better in your life. And you know, also me just being on the football team. You know, there's 180 kids out there. You know, they all become your best friends.
Sure.
You know, they're just more than just players. They become your brothers. And you know, Coach Holland tells you all this. They actually really do become your brothers. They're the ones that have your back, bend over backwards for you, and everything like that. Another thing that also me, you know, I graduated from University of Pikeville. You know, Coach Holland gave me a job, you know, being a GA. Also got my master's degree here at the University of Pikeville. So I was very fortunate to, you know, have Coach Holland, have all the people around me, you know, all the great mentors to lead me in the right direction. So.
You come from South Carolina as a college freshman to play football. You're a big guy. You know, you're a good-sized guy. You're playing college football and you get homesick. It happens.
Yes, sir.
It doesn't matter how big you are, how tough you are. I think all of us have ties to family.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, how tough is that? You mentioned you didn't want to get out of bed. You didn't want to go to class. How did your friends, people like Ambria, how did they help you through those times?
Well, they would sit down and talk to me one-on-one, you know, encourage me. You know, your mom's going to be really impressed with you. Your dad's going to be really impressed with you. You know, they want you to do this. They want you to be behind you. They want you to better your life every day, and that just encourages me every day because, you know, I'm the only person in my family that has a college degree. You know, I'm the only person in my entire, like, I think I have the highest education of everybody in my family with a master's degree. You know, I never thought that. You know, when I was in high school, I was always told you're not going to make it. You know, people always say you're just a football player, you're just an athlete.
Sure.
These athletes go through a lot of stuff, you know, because they do have to go through practice, you know, 2 hours a day. Then they have weights on top of that, meetings on top of that. There's stuff on top of them. They just don't realize, you know, what athletes go through. You know, in high school, a lot of them get babied because, you know, when you're the best athlete in high school, they take care of you.
Sure.
But in the college level, everybody's the best here. There's no favoritism or anything like that. And you always have to push yourself. And sometimes it wears on you, mentally and physically. It wears on you. But you got to, you know, the good thing about it is with Miss Ray and I know Miss Mandy, you know, they always had my back. They always took care of me. They always, and we'll talk more, you know, what's up Wednesday, having a home cooked meal, you know, just having somebody there to always, you know, that's always there and just pat you on the back and say, hey, you're doing a good job.
Right. Hang in there. Hang in there. It all looks to the future. Eric Mobley, of course, you had a tough first year. What was one of the toughest moments you had during that first year?
You know, I'd say it's probably during my first year, you know, my first semester of football season, traveling a lot. You know, my parents not coming to every game. In high school, my parents didn't miss a game.
Right.
No matter if it was 3 hours away or no matter, they would always be at every game.
Sure.
Well, now, you know, if they come to a home game here at the University of Pikeville, it's 6 hours away.
Right.
You know, my parents always made a promise to me. We always be at your first game. When we went down to South Alabama, I was a 12-hour drive for them. They never missed the first game.
Right.
So I guess that was probably one of the biggest things, you know, parents not being in the stands and cheering me on and things like that, you know, and watching my first nephew grow up. You know, I've been up here 7 years now. He just turned 7 3 days ago. So just watching, you know, not being there for my family and things like that, it's probably one of my toughest things my first semester and adjusting that way.
And now you can relate those experiences to a student who comes in who's having a tough first year, whether it's an athlete, whether it's a student at the University of Pikeville. Each experience is different.
Yes, sir.
For those first year college students. Being away from home, being in the dorm, those relationships that are being formed, very relatable for you. And I think that's an amazing story that you are able to share. Ambria, as Eric's instructor, you helped him make that transition from high school to college. And how do you and other faculty and staff on campus help students during that tough first year?
Well, faculty are the front line. We're there to help and do as much as we can, but the faculty are the ones that see them day in and day out in their classes, and once you've been in a classroom with a student and you get to know their personality and see the ins and outs, you know when something's not right.
Right.
And, you know, we always say that we're a family at UPike, and we are. I've seen it in action, love in action all the time.
Right.
Because they care. You know, the faculty care enough to notice first that something's off, but not only stop there, to go ahead and reach out to the student and say, hey, I noticed something's up. If you want to talk about it, I'm here. If you don't, I'll help you get to somebody else. But regardless, I want you to know that we care.
Right.
And we'll do whatever we can to help you through this. And that's kind of what happened with Mobley. I don't call him Eric, I call him Mobley.
Right.
But that's what happened with him. You know, I got close to him. He was a football player and then also friends with my sister, Sally, at the time. So I knew him in a few different ways there, and I noticed he was struggling. And he talked to me at the point, and I said, listen, you're going to be a success story.
Right.
You've got this. You've got the tools that you need to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
And you just need a little motivation every now and then.
Right.
You need somebody to push you along, pat you on the back, and help you believe that you can do it sometimes. That's what our students need. And that's where faculty step in a
Sure.
big way, is really just encourage the students to become what we know they can.
And sometimes that's needed because Eric, as a student, I think of first-year college students, those that are struggling, not even first-year student, any college student who's struggling. That's a tough admission.
It is.
To go to someone and say, I'm struggling with whatever, academics, I'm struggling with this class, I'm struggling with this professor, I'm struggling with dorm life, I'm struggling, I want to go home.
Right.
That's tough. And sometimes the faculty seeing that, or someone, part of the administration, knowing that student and seeing that and recognizing something's just not right.
And we are a small enough institution where
Yeah.
we do get to know them on a personal level, and you know when it needs to be, you know, a hug or a pat on the shoulder and
Yeah.
everything's going to be okay, consoling, and when it needs to be tough love.
Right.
I mean, there were times when I was consoling about it being nephew's birthday and he's not there, and then there were times I was like, you're not going home.
Right.
Straighten up and go to class,
Yeah.
you know.
Sure.
So you just know what's needed
Sure.
at that time.
Eric, sometimes students struggle to stay in college for many different reasons. Time management, challenging. It's one of the topics that we hear about so many times is new college students don't know how to manage time, or they know how, they just don't very well. Especially student athletes. We talk about the time spent in coaches' meetings, watching film, practice in the weight room. There's so many demands, traveling, so many demands with that. How did you learn to manage time as a student, and what advice do you give to current students or incoming students that are a part of the football program?
Well, one thing you always do, like I said, you're a team. You always depend on your brother to help you out. Hey, we got to go to practice this time. You know, Coach Hollins moved practice 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, for a freshman, getting up at 5 o'clock every morning is kind of tough. So you have to depend on your roommate to help you out.
As a much older adult, getting up at 5 in the morning to go to practice is tough.
Yeah. So I mean, that's one of the toughest things. You know, like you said, time management is one of the toughest things. You always have to set that alarm more than just once.
Sure.
Going to class, because you know you're going to practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. Hey, by lunchtime, hey, it's time to go take a nap. I ain't got time to go to class or anything like that. But it's not it. You know, when you come to college, you are an adult. You have to take responsibilities and things like that. We have a sheet up there. It has Monday through Friday every day. Starting at 8 o'clock in the morning all the way to 6 o'clock at night. For a football player, we got to bump it up to 5 o'clock in the morning. And you have to set your times. You got weights at this time, 12 o'clock on Tuesday, Thursdays, and you have meetings Monday through Friday at 5 o'clock. And it's just, we always try to depend on them because they have to be adults a little bit. But we are here to help them in every way. We set the goals. Hey, I know Miss Mandy Stacy, she colors it in, football orange because it's a football. Classes, we try to highlight times when you have classes, when you can go to lunch. We also, try to set up good 30 minutes where you can study, read a book, or, even take a nap. You're an athlete, you get wore out, mental, physically. Sometimes you just have to take a nap through the day and just collect your thoughts. But, we always just there to give a helping hand.
We talked to him about filling in those blanks in that schedule,
Right.
and tell him it's okay to schedule time for a nap because
Sure.
you're going to need to, but
Right.
you also need to schedule time to eat, and you need to schedule time to study.
Right.
And if you want to have time with friends and play games or Xbox or whatever, that's okay too, but you've got these other responsibilities.
Right.
So we talked to him about being accountable
Mm-hmm.
and taking control of their own day and teaching them to be an adult. A lot of times with athletes especially, they're so accustomed to someone else setting their schedule for them and telling them to show up at the field at this time, and then you go to school at this time, and then you eat dinner at this time. And now you're responsible for doing that yourself. So we talk to them about taking that responsibility, and hey, if you struggle with it, let us know. We'll help you, even if it's with a color-coded paper that has some, pep talk and scripture around the edges. Mandy's wonderful at that. So
Sure. And not just athletes, but any college student, anyone growing up.
Absolutely.
Someone else has been responsible for that schedule. Someone else has, okay, it's time to get up.
Right.
Okay, it's time for dinner. It's time to study. It's time to be at school. We all have had that growing up in life, and that's part of becoming an adult and growing and becoming a integral part of society. It's part of college and a part of becoming that and growing into that person and student success. That's what it's about, is how to make that student successful. Amber Ray, Director of the Center for Student Success at the University of Pikeville. Eric Mobley, Student Success Advisor. Amber, behind the time in the classroom, what are some of the things that help students be successful in college besides time management?
Engagement. Being involved on campus, that's the biggest thing. Any statistic or even anecdotal evidence will tell you the more involved they are on campus, the more successful they're going to be. If they buy into the culture and become a bear, and they love the University of Pikeville because they're excited about the chess club or whatever organization that they belong to, then they're going to be more invested and want to be a student even more. So we encourage students to get out and be involved and go and do things, do the fun stuff. That's just as much a part of being a college student as classes are. Classes are important. You're a student first, but the life outside of the classroom is just as important. So we encourage them to be involved and make connections with roommates, classmates, people that you walk by every day in the cafeteria.
Right.
The more connections they can make, the more they will be invested in their education.
You had a little bit of an upper hand as a football player, Eric, because you had an automatic 100+ guys that were part of your family all of a sudden. Okay, you've come from South Carolina, but you have this in common. There are many students that may be away from home that don't have that outside of that roommate. And how do you help that student become more engaged? How do you help that student get out and become a part of the university?
We offer programs that speak exactly to that. Walmart Wednesday, What's Up Wednesday. We can get students connected to services, but in the process of that, they get connected to one another and then to us also. And it allows us a foot in the door to talk to them about their lives and about what's going on and what they're concerned about and what they're happy about. It's not always just problems.
Right.
We want to celebrate success with them as well. I mentioned Walmart Wednesday. On Wednesdays, we offer a van, shuttle, a ride to Walmart just to go and do their grocery shopping or whatever they need to do at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And then we have What's Up Wednesday. That's my favorite.
I know, we're going to talk about that. Eric, how do you reach out to students and let them know that student success is there to help them?
Well, like you said, we hold all kinds of events. We go through, like I said, What's Up Wednesday and things like that. Just reach out to them and let them know that we are there. With the incoming freshmen, like I reach out to them through text a lot. Like Ms. Ray said, I spend hundreds of texts a day just trying to, involve myself with them, see how their day is going, figure out what they want to major in, just talk to them in that general area and things like that. Like I said, I also email them if I can't get a hold of them, or I try to phone them, call them. Calling home, even talking to mom sometimes, just get an idea of a little bit about the kid and things in that way. Make sure he's not going to be homesick, or if he's only, right down the road right here in Pikeville, right down by Pikeville High School or something like that.
Still, they can struggle.
Yes, sir. They sure can.
Even being right down the road, they still have some of those same college struggles. Amber, you've come up with some creative ways to help students work through those struggles of college. What's Up Wednesday? It is one of our favorites. I know it's one of yours that you came up with. For those that are tuned in, let's talk about what it is and what it accomplishes.
How it came about was to address the issue of homesickness. We just were racking our brains about how to help students overcome that hurdle. That's an obstacle for a lot of students, whether they do live in Pikeville or South Carolina or Alaska.
Sure.
And one of the things, it was a conversation with a student, how it came about. They were having a terrible day, and I asked her, what is going to make it better? What can I do? And all she wanted was her mom's macaroni and cheese. That was the only thing that was going to make her life better.
Okay.
And I had a light bulb. I was like, I can do that. I can make macaroni and cheese,
Right.
you know? So that's how it really began, was let's feed them. You know, who doesn't love a home-cooked meal?
Sure.
It's called comfort food for a reason,
Right.
you know? So we just decided this is a service we're going to offer and bring students in, and maybe they will start trusting us, that say, hey, these people are nice. They do care about us.
Right.
Maybe they will help me. They're giving me free food.
Sure.
Free food, college students going to come,
Absolutely.
right? So that's how it got started, was we do offer food on Wednesday nights at 8:30. And it's free, no strings attached. They don't have to talk to us. They just come in and make a plate and leave if they want to.
Sure.
But what inevitably happens is they start talking. They talk to us, and we find out issues that maybe they are not comfortable with going and talking to the professor about yet, because it's intimidating as an 18-year-old. You know, this person has a PhD, Dr. So-and-so. I'm scared to tell them what I think, you know. So it enables us to initiate a conversation with them and help them start problem solving on their own. But also they make connections with other students. Always happens every semester. They'll be standing in line waiting to make their plate, and somebody will be talking about, you know, a trig test that they have this week that they're just pulling their hair out about.
Right.
And then there'll be someone behind them. I had that professor last semester. I still have my notes. I can sit down and go over that with you if you like.
Sure.
They would have never, well, maybe they would have met, but they didn't know each other before What's Up Wednesday.
Sure.
And it started out very small, where I was cooking and then some other people were helping us, and we'd get local churches involved and do a potluck. But now it's really grown very big,
Right.
and we have people sponsor it for us.
Sure.
Because now we're feeding maybe 400 students
Right.
at a time.
Yeah, that's a lot of hungry college
Yeah.
students. Yeah. Eric Mobley, new students and parents, they attend SOAR during the summer months, and you as a student success advisor have a chance to talk to these parents. What do you tell them about student success and what you do?
I try to comfort them. You know, I try to let them know that we're here for them. You know, we can never replace mom and dad. That's
Right.
you know, that's not what we're intended to. We're just here to, you know, help them along the way. You know, we're here to make sure they stay on the right path and just comfort the mom and dad a little bit. Because like you said, they're dropping their son off here at college, son or daughter, excuse me, here at college. You know, they're nervous just as much as the student is.
Right.
So we're just here to, I'll try to comfort them and let them know, hey, you know, we're here to help you and things like, you know, and just let them try to ease their mind a little bit in that area.
Sure. And that's important, because while college students struggle, sometimes mom and dad do too, with that student being away from home. Amber, you talk about What's Up Wednesday. It's grown to 400. That's a
Sometimes.
lot of mouths to feed. And that's quite a task.
Yes.
If someone would like to help out, sponsor that, maybe there's a church that would like to become involved with that and become involved with the student success at the University of Pikeville, how can they do that?
Give me a call, 218-5626. We also have an area on the webpage. Just go to upike.edu, and then you can put in the search Student Success, or under Academics you can find our web pages, and we'll have a calendar up there for What's Up Wednesday and available dates and ways to contact us to tell us you're interested. We welcome any help that we can
Sure.
get. The students they're so appreciative of anything, whether it's fresh fruit or cookies and milk,
Right.
or a full ham dinner.
Right.
They love it.
Or mom's mac and cheese.
Absolutely, Mama's mac and cheese.
I can see where that would help a student out. Amber Ray, Director of Student Success at the University of Pikeville. Eric Mobley, Student Success Advisor, our guest. Guys, thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for all you do. You've been tuned to Where the 99 Leads, brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. I'm Andrew Joyce. Thanks for tuning in.